Steve, would you cut that music, please? Thank you. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for taking your seats. Thank you for taking your seats. Good morning, welcome. Happy Pride, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for taking your seats. Thank you for taking your seats. And let me introduce you to Reverend Dr. Brent Hawks. Thank you.
With glowing hearts we My name is Brent Hawks, and I'm the senior pastor at the Metropolitan Community Church of Toronto. Happy Pride! You just heard our amazing choir singing an inclusive version of O Canada. Inclusive not only in terms of adding women to singing of O Canada, but also French, Anishinaabe, Spanish, German, Tagalog, Mandarin, and English. Well done, choir. I said a prayer before the service and asked that there would be no rain, and it's guaranteed until after the offering. Following that, no promises. Unfortunately, we have to always begin a service like this with this announcement that this is a worship service, and any disruption of this service is considered a criminal offense and will be prosecuted. We invite all of you to come to worship with us regularly on Sundays at 9, 10:50 a.m., and at 7 in the evening at 115 Simpson Avenue. We are a very busy church, and so we have very long announcements. Visit our website at mcctoronto.com for more information on our church events. And you can also watch us on Facebook every Sunday live. Our services are being live streamed today as well. And so if you have your cell phone, please do not turn it off. You can turn the sound off, though, if you'd like. But if you would love, you can send out tweets using the hashtag MCCToronto and send out information about our services. You can take notes about the wonderful sermon that you will hear later on. And that's a joke. And in particular, how many of you are on Facebook? Well, today you can help us to make this the most broadly watched service in our history. If you have your phone handy, I'm going to explain how you can do this. First, you can go to MCC Toronto's Facebook page and click on the like button, and then you can see the live video feed. You can click that and share it on your own page, and then everyone you want to send out to will get a notice that this service is happening right now, and they can watch it if they'd like. I'd like to take a few moments to acknowledge that there are red roses at the front of the stage. This is a symbol of the loss felt by this community for more than 30 years of losing family, friends, and loved ones to HIV/AIDS. I would also like to bring your attention to the offering envelope in your program. Please take a moment to fill it out, but do not fill out the amount. Give us a chance to inspire you. If you do not regularly attend MCC Toronto, we would like you to consider supporting our programs and our ministries all year round by signing up for monthly giving and becoming a member of what we call our Circle of Friends. You will see instructions on page 12 about how to do that and the members who are already there. We also want to wish all our Muslim sisters and brothers Eid Mubarak. We thank those who have offered financial support to our Pride Day service. They're listed in the order of service. We'd like to thank the many volunteers and staff who are making this service possible. And to all, a big thank you. And if you want to purchase a t-shirt or a foldable stool, they're at our community booth at the side. Unfortunately, I am unable to march in the Pride Parade today. A family emergency means that I have to fly out to New Brunswick immediately this afternoon following the service. I may not be able to march with you, but I ask please march for me. We invite everyone to come to march with us. Meet at 3:15 at Bloor and Ted Rogers Way, just east of Church Street. Our marching number is K50, and we will be marching right behind Affirm United Church and just before Durham College. Please join us, and you'll watch out for the MCC Toronto banner or logo to show where we are, and we recognize that many of you are also marching with other groups today. Great news, Bill C-16 has passed. This amends the Canadian Human Rights Act to add gender identity and gender expression to the list of prohibited grounds of discrimination. We are thrilled that Canada has become a more inclusive country. It has taken 11 years, 6 bills, and tireless advocacy work to achieve this. Many trans activists are here today, including Susan Gapka, who have worked very, very hard for this day. There is also someone who has been working very hard for the last few years and has transformed our country and is in the process of transforming the world. She is the executive director of EGAL. She has done an absolutely amazing job. She has rebuilt the organization and has made a substantial difference on both the national and the international level. Helen Kennedy, you are amazing. I don't know how you've done it all. Could you please thank her for her work? I'm told we have a few dignitaries with us today. I'm going to ask you to hold your applause until the end so that we can get rid of them all. Woo! Get through the whole list as quickly as possible. Oh, well, it's my last Pride. I can say anything. We'd like to welcome School Trustee Chris Moyes, Jason Van Dett, Vice President of the Ontario PC Party, Olivia Nuama, Executive Director of Pride Toronto, also doing an amazing job. Jeff McGuire, Chief of Police, Niagara Region, and Superintendent Barbara McLean, Unit Commander, 55 Division. City Councilors, Anna Bailo, Joe Cressy, John Campbell, Mike Layton, Kristen Wong-Tam, Mary Fragadakas. Members of Provincial Parliament, Kathleen Fife, Sherry DeNovo, Peter Tabbins, Peggy Sattler, Jamet Singh. Members of Federal Parliament, Randy Boisenoke, Honorable Karen Bennett, Bill Blair, Sean Chen, Julie DeBrusen, Honorable Chrystia Freeland, Honorable Bill Morneau, Rob Oliphant, Adam Vaughan, Boris Janeski, and Salma Zahid. Senator Art Eggleton, and provincial party leaders, Andrea Horvath, leader of the Ontario New Democratic Party, and Mike Schreiner, leader of the Green Party of Ontario. Also, we'd like to welcome Elizabeth May, leader of the Green Party of Canada, John Tory, Mayor of Toronto, Kathleen Wynne and her partner Jane Rowanthwaite, Premier of Ontario, and finally, Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. Could you welcome all of our dignitaries, please? Thank you. Let us continue now with our celebration.
Bonjour, Seko, Ani, Kwe, Ninwabanakwe, Nadishnakaz, Megizi, Nindodam. I would like to acknowledge the sacred land that we gather on. This territory that is now known as Toronto has a rich history that extends thousands of years before Canada became Canada. And I would like to acknowledge that we gather today upon the traditional territories of the Wendat, Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Mississaugas of New Credit First Nation. I would also like to acknowledge all Indigenous peoples who have lived and shared in this dish with one spoon territory, and the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people on this land. Marci, Nayawe, Tiawenka, Megwech.
Loving God, we thank you that we can celebrate Pride in this great country.
We give you thanks for our freedom, our safety, and diversity.
We give you thanks for our friends, families, and fellow people, all wonderfully created in your image. We give you thanks for our countless blessings.
Help us remember those who don't enjoy the same rights, liberty, and opportunities that we do. Help us share what we have and help us stand up for and support those in need of justice and hope, always.
In your many names, amen.
Ensenunge kuba gatolina mukama wange suna yabange ng'olabanga ne bw'olumwa tewalyanyolwa kuva kunna guno ogenda ku mmandwa ne balya enkoko ne balya embuzi sente zo ne baziwa emmenta bwe ng'osiyuka abaana bo ne babagoba mu ssomero n'oweerera baabwe naye bw'omanya amazima tosobola kudda gye wava ngambye bw'ozira mukama ne webaleeta gureda toddayo tolina kyoŋŋamba eyo kennabaya sikyaddaze sirina kyeŋŋamba eneewa mukama ninga mwana tolina kyoŋŋamba eyo kennabaya sikyaddaze sirina kyeŋŋamba eneewa mukama ninga nali muto katiraba gyentuuse sirabanga mutukuvu alekeddwa era wakiri mukama abako nekyakola mutuufu danyeri mu mpologoma laba yazifuula mikwano gye neyo mu mbeera laba yafuna okumiikiriza yasindika musa mu baana b'emisiri ng'amanyi yali bataasa nange ntunula gye ndaga mmanyi gye nteeka ekigera alabayo mukama alabayo tajja kundeka kugwa mu nnyanga tolina kyoŋŋamba eyo kennabaya sikyaddaze sirina kyeŋŋamba eneewa mukama ninga mwana tolina kyoŋŋamba eyo kennabaya sikyaddaze sirina kyeŋŋamba eneewa mukama leka 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 nengenda mwana wa mama tomwisa leka 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 tomwita eyo kennabaya sikyaddayo leka 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 nengenda ebyo by'olikonze tebinyamba leka 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 tomwita ebibuuzi byebuse bisimba leka 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 nengenda eyo kennabaya sikyaddayo leka leka angene nfumbireko omwami tolina kyoŋŋamba eyo kennabaya sikyaddaze sirina kyeŋŋamba eneewa mukama ninga mwana tolina kyoŋŋamba eyo kennabaya sikyaddaze sirina eneewa mukama leka 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 hey leka 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 leka
plus pride. So let me begin with faith. When I first arrived in Toronto, MCC Toronto was not seen or even valued as part of the community. Over time, we have worked hard at leading our people to faith and freedom. We have helped reconnect thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands of people, to a relevant spirituality. People coming home again to faith, to spirituality, to religion, to community, to God, to loving themselves as LGBTQ people created in God's image. We have built a faith community that has impacted lives and laws, transformed individuals and relationships, transformed our country and our world. This faith-led religious organization has made lives better and laws better, and as a result has earned its place as an important faith and activist movement within the broader LGBTQ community. Even some of our biggest skeptics would probably agree that the world and our community is a better place because of MCC Toronto. I also believe that the Christian church has been challenged and changed because of our voice. A voice once crying in the wilderness, now a beacon of hope and freedom for individuals and for faith communities. At first, we appeared like a small voice countering the religious right. Then we showed that we were a safe place for people with HIV/AIDS to come for help or to come to die. During those very difficult days, we cared for hundreds of severely ill people in their homes and ultimately became a place of choice for their funerals and celebrations of life. We have fought for human rights, for the right not to get fired from a job, for the right to be able to co-adopt our kids, for the right to be able to not be evicted from apartments when someone just found out we were gay or lesbian, and finally the right to love and marry whoever we choose. All of this has been an outgrowth of the spiritual gospel and the social gospel, calling us to jump into the ring and respond to the cries for help and the need for change. We can legitimately take pride that our faith is now in pride. And so now I would like to apply our faith to pride. Pride, what is it? Historically, it's about protesting the injustices, challenging for the advancement of human rights, while at the same time, pride has been about celebrating the progress we've made and a celebration of a place just to be open, and for once to be in the majority. The Pride Parade is full of so many community groups. Some have always carried a political message, some have occasionally carried a political message, and some have never been political and have always been about celebrating. Community groups have always been free to choose their messages as they should. And then there is also Pride Toronto, an institution entrusted with organizing Pride events. Pride Toronto has had to organize a massive festival while choosing themes, grand marshals, international grand marshals, honored groups, etc. In this role, Pride Toronto has been able to get political and often does, or it can focus on celebrations. It gets to choose, as it should. Almost always, Pride and Pride Toronto have faced challenges. Consistent threats to funding by some city councillors has been a constant. And then there's the Pride Toronto structure that often has led to pressure and counter-pressure, and a membership decision-making process that often relies on who can stack a meeting. This raises the question, can we get behind an organization and support an organization that has to elect a board, employ staff, organize a massive week, massive month of activities, raise funds, balance a budget, ensure crowd control and public safety, honor diversity, while at the same time maneuvering the latest internal political battles? Pride is annually vulnerable to the latest issues being so divisive that they can threaten the very existence of Pride as a community event and Pride Toronto as the organizers. We cannot afford for Pride to be at risk. That's why the community That's why the Community Advisory Panel was called into being in 2010 to address these issues related to pride. We are partly in the mess we are in today because the recommendations arising from that process in the past were never fully implemented. We need those recommendations revisited and implemented. And we need pride focused on LGBTQ issues, not exclusively, but predominantly. We need to protest the injustices to the LGBTQ community. We need to keep pushing for LGBT equality here and around the world. We need to celebrate our progress and our accomplishments. We need to celebrate as communities, as organizations, and as affinity groups. And we need to celebrate having pride as a safe place just to be and to celebrate who we are. Inclusion is the core value in our community. And as long as a group or a company support LGBT equality, then in my opinion, welcome aboard. As much as I personally may have been tempted at times to want some groups excluded, I have always avoided the temptation to act on those impulses. We are right to include even the obnoxious, as long as they support LGBTQ equality. We have never told people how to dress, as tempting as that has been over the years. In the early days, the presence of nudity used to bother many of us, until we all realized that we'd have no problem with nudity as long as we could choose who took their clothes off. So as soon as we realized that, we laughed and got over it. I get very nervous when we start telling people what clothes to wear, because I probably wear a uniform that represents the group that has done the most damage to the LGBT community, the Christian church. So I would say, don't ban what's offensive to some, reform it to the benefit of everyone. If we start banning what's offensive to some, then we'll soon have a very extensive list of groups that are vulnerable to being questioned, and we will have endless battles about who to exclude instead of focusing on how we can work harder at being a more inclusive community. Let's keep our focus on how to include, not exclude. Protest and celebration have always coexisted together quite well over the years. We need to be driven by clear values and not diverted by pressure. We need Pride Toronto to continue to mature as an organization with our support so that it will not be vulnerable. And we as a community need to mature and to realize our anger should be directed at those who threaten the funding for Pride, who threaten our equality here at home, and who threaten equality around the world. We should direct our energy at things like deeply examining racism, and not arguing about tactics or being diverted by extremism. Racism will not be defeated by yelling at each other, but instead by sincere soul-searching, by listening deeply to each other, and by developing and implementing strategies that will really move us forward so everyone can feel safe at Pride. We will never please one extreme or the other. We will never please those who want to move us back to the 1960s or the 1860s, nor will we please those who want instant change as they define it. As a community that prides itself on inclusion at its core value, we cannot bury our heads in the sand and pretend that racism doesn't exist in our society, in our city, and specifically in the LGBT community. Everyone belongs in Pride, and we want everyone to feel safe at Pride. We have fought long and hard for a place, for faith in Pride. Going forward, as much as is possible, we need a united community with strong organizations protecting a cherished institution called Pride. Looking at our past as people of faith, we know that the early Christian church was such a place of diversity, disagreement, different traditions. But Jesus was able to hold all of that together with a common vision that stressed unity, not uniformity, but unity. Looking at our future as people of faith plus pride, we have this day, this weekend, this month, where we come together in fabulous diversity, agreeing and disagreeing, protesting and celebrating, bringing faith and pride together. In August, I will be celebrating my 40th anniversary at MCC Toronto. And in 6-7 months, I'll be stepping down as the senior pastor. Christmas Eve will probably be my last sermon. So today is my last Pride as the senior pastor of our church. I've seen Pride grow from a small group on the fringe to what it is today, with lots of growing pains along the way. I love the experience called Pride. I love the proud faces of people marching for the first time, especially those who come here as refugees. I love the proud faces of parents and friends in the parade and along the route. I love proud employees celebrating their employer's act of support, whether they are employed by a bank or a church or Toronto Police Services. I love seeing people of various faith traditions growing in their numbers. I love it when small communities join in. I love the diversity that shows up. I still believe we can hold it all together and make it even better, celebrating, respecting our differences. Let us never forget where we've come from as a community, and let us always dream of a better world and work for a better world. And let us dwell on the positives while we deal with the negatives. And finally, let us be kinder. Can't we be kinder to each other? As we say at our church, how we are with each other is just as important as the work we do. How we are with each other is just as important as the work we do. The world needs us to do a better job at handling our differences. The world needs us to be a voice for justice and a voice for faith. When we do that together, lives are not just made better, but lives are saved, and the world is transformed. Faith plus pride. It's a winning combination. Keep the faith. Happy Pride. Thank you.
Here we are, together again, walking through an open door that wasn't always there before. Free to be whoever we are, standing on our history, remembering the cruelty we fought against and sometimes fight it still. We fight to win, we always will. Pride, what a revolution. Pride, cause for celebration. Look at where we are, we have come so far. Faith, we will not forget the past, but we'll break the chains at last. Strong and free, we love with pride. Oh, Canada. There is still much work to be done. There are places we hear from where life is still a hell for some. So we must keep hope in our hearts. a symbol of the all-prevailing power of love that gives us strength we need to fight, and always keep the prize inside. Pride, cause for celebration. Pride through determination. Look at where we are. We have come so far. Faith, we will not forget the past, but we'll break the chains at last. Strong and free we love with pride. Celebrate our freedom and our right to choose as we face the future. We can lose. How blessed we are to have today and live the way we do with pride. Look at where we are. We have come so far. Faith, we will not forget past, but we'll break the chains at last. Strong and free we love with pride. We'll build a bridge for you and me with pride. We stand on a
Right. My name is Franklin, Jomo. I come from Cameroon. I came to Canada in 2012 and immediately applied for a refugee status in Canada. My case was referred to the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada. Up to date, I'm still pending, waiting for my hearing date. It's been 5 years that I'm waiting, or more. At first, I applied for refugee status on the basis of political persecution. In Cameroon, I was a member of a pressure group, that's a movement known as the Southern Cameroon National Council. Our objective was to seek for complete restoration of a statehood of Southern Cameroon. I was arrested illegally, detained in a solitary confinement, and systematically tortured by the dictatorial regime in Cameroon. In 2011, I escaped from this persecution and based on my political activities, I struggled and eventually got a visa to come to Canada. In Canada, I began a course of study in Humber College in 2015. While I was there, I found myself developing a strong attraction to a fellow student who is a gay. I discovered that I am a bisexual. We became partners and decided to move on together. In Cameroon, I would have to keep my sexual orientation as a secret. Because of this, it is extremely difficult to meet up other LGBT communities or people. It is really hard to find people in Cameroon who accept LGBT community at all. It is considered a taboo in Cameroon. I felt marginalized and rejected by my own community. Also, homosexuality is a crime in Cameroon. The government arrests, detains, tortures, terrorizes, and persecutes the LGBT community. But then a friend told me about the MCC Toronto. From the very first day I went to MCC, I felt home, integrated, and loved. Since I started going to MCC, I became more courageous. Thanks to the moral and social support received from the church and the congregation, MCC is a sanctuary to people like me. If you are looking for a positive space, a place that is dedicated to support in whatever you are going through, or a place for spiritual growth, the MCC is here for you. We have services at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and at 7 p.m.
Because there is lightning in the area, we have to end the service at this point because of the threat on stage. Feel free to find an offering basket on the way out if you can. Happy Pride, happy future Pride.